Hello, members of me tribe. I hope life's good to you. I hope you're keeping well. Well, basically, I hope I just hope you're doing well, and I hope life is good to you. Yeah, I've been a bit of a I don't know. I haven't really wanted to go out lately because every time I go out, I have people coming up to me asking me if I'm some sort of supermodel. They're asking me, like, basically, like literally, they're asking me if I'm, going to do Calvin Klein ads or ads for Gucci or Versace. They seem to think I'm a supermodel, and I have to tell them that I'm not into that. I'm just an ordinary guy who wants to play with his model trains and his Dungeons and Dragons. It's very difficult to communicate to the NPCs, to the imbeciles out there, that I'm not into that. I could do it if I wanted. I could do modeling full time, make millions, but that's not me. Walking up and down the catwalk, it's just not me. It's not smooth for Ravenberg. Um, but I hope you're doing well, by the way. But and I hope life's good to you. I really do. You gorgeous bastards. You're lucky. You gorgeous bastards are lucky that you're not drop dead gorgeous. Otherwise, you'd be, harassed all the time by people asking you if you're a supermodel. Um, Members of me tribe, I want to talk about a few things here. Glastonbury again. Very strange what's going on there. They say they believe in open borders and all this. But yet they have perimeter. Fences all around the venue. So, you can't get in unless you have money, a lot of money to buy a ticket. So I don't think they're very inclusive, the Glastonbury crowd, a lot of hypocrisy going on there, I have to say. Um, horrible news coming out of Glastonbury. Very anti-Semitic, really horrible, hate-filled speech coming out of that concert, that venue, that festival. Members of me tribe, I don't really want to talk much about that, to be honest. At Glastonbury, I think it's a waste of time. I think it's all a waste of space. I really want to talk about two things. I've been taking it easy. I've been playing with my model trains. Now, as you know, before I go to bed every night, I like watching people being mown down by trains, people being killed by trains. You've got a lot of people taking selfies along the tracks, and suddenly a train just takes them out of it, knocks them into the next world. And I get a great sense of peace watching people being mangled by trains. So I've been, as a pastime, as a little hobby, I've been playing with my model trains, and I've been putting little figurines on the tracks, and you know, uh, slow motion. The figurine tries to get off the tracks, but the train is chugging along, and the figurine can't get out in time. Little soldiers, like, yeah, little figurines, and they can't get off the tracks in time, and the train just rides right over them. Destroys them. I get particular joy out of putting little Nazi soldiers on the tracks and pretending that the train, it's an Auschwitz train, and it's full of the poor Jews, the carriages, the people carriages, and I try to imagine that the Jews have commandeered the train. They've taken over the train, and now they're getting their vengeance on the Nazis. So they're riding over the Nazis on the tracks. Oh God, I really do feel great playing that little imaginary game. Um, Anyway, members of me tribe, I want to talk to you. I suppose the thrust of this video, I want to talk to you about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I think it might be called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's the 1970 something version, based, somewhat on the book by Roald Dahl, who possibly had, who, there's question marks over that going. Let's just put it that way. There are question marks over Roald Dahl. Now, if you watch the movie, you'll notice that Willy Wonka, he's like a god figure, really. He's got this mystery, which is the factory. It was closed, and he's reopening it, and there's a lot of mystery about it. Now, it's paradise. The factory is paradise for the little ones, for the chiselers, the little children. It's absolute paradise for them, And in order to get into the factory, you need to get you need to pay money to get a chocolate bar and hope that there's a golden ticket in the chocolate bar. Now, Charlie is from a poor family, but he manages to get a golden ticket. Now, when I was watching this the other night, I hadn't watched it since I was a kid. Charlie's four grandparents all sleep in the same bed. Now, that's just weird, something not quite right about that. A bit of wife swapping going on there or something. And it's in the living room, So Charlie goes in there and he sees his four grandparents like sleeping in the same bed, wearing like nighties and stuff. It's just weird, and it's just not acceptable, It's just not acceptable. But anyway, I want to talk to you about the granddad in the movie. The granddad who accompanies Charlie to the chocolate factory. Now, another thing about Willy Wonka, in the movie, he uses this guy to try and tempt the children. If the children give him the secrets of the factory, he will give them an everlasting gobstopper. Now, this is a little bit like God using the snake to tempt Eve, and thereby it was God's way to kick Adam and Eve out of paradise. He used the snake because if God can control everything, and if it's his paradise, what is he doing with a snake in there? A snaky snake. So I think God put the snake there because he just didn't want human beings in his paradise anymore. And, I can kind of agree with him. If you look around you at human beings, they're horrible creatures, human beings. So I think God was trying to get rid of them, and he did it in a sort of cowardly way. He used the snake. Instead of confronting Adam and Eve and saying, look, it's been great having you here, but I just don't want you anymore. He was too cowardly to do that, so he used the snake. But anyway, I think Willy Wonka's using his assistant guy, pretending to be, a competitor of Wonka, to try and kick the kids out of the factory to stop them from getting any rewards. I think Wonka's a bit like God in the Garden of Eden. Now, I want to talk about this grandfather, okay? I've been going on long enough, right? But I want to talk about the grandfather, okay? Right? The one that goes to the factory with Charlie, right? We've been told that this guy has been a cripple. He's been lying up in bed for 20 years, okay? As soon as the granddad finds out that Charlie has the golden ticket, he hops out of the bed and he starts dancing around the room and singing. There's not a thing wrong with him. Not a bloody thing wrong with him. He's been pretending for 20 years, my friends, members of each tribe. 20 years he's been pretending to be sick. He's been on the disability for 20 years. And there was a thing wrong with him. And we find out he was pretending as soon as he finds out that he's got a chance of getting a lot of loot in Willy Wonka's factory. So really do check it out. I think it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the 1970 from Gene Wilder, fantastic actor, a Jew by the way, a great Jew, really wonderful Jew. Gene Wilder, great actor, really plays the part of Wonka. Okay, I love you fucking bastards. I want you to have a really great summer, okay? Make sure you do a to-do list and get through that to-do list, and that will engender you to feel quite confident about yourself. It will also enable your charisma. Okay, so put up a list, draw it up, tick it off as you do each item, and I'll tell you something. You'll feel absolutely gorgeous, absolutely wonderful at the end of the summer. You'll be able to look back and say, I painted the shed and I wrote it down and I did it. I did magic. I performed magic. The painting of the shed was an idea in my head. I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and then I dragged it into the world of being, and I made it happen. And now I can stand drinking a hot mug of tea, looking across the garden at that shed and say, I fucking did it. I fucking did it. I love you bastards. You fucking bastards. You in the tribe. You're great people. Now, people outside the tribe, they're NPCs, right? They're fucking idiots, right? There's no hope for them. Okay, there's absolutely no hope for them. But we here in the tribe, we here in the tribe, we're something special. Enjoy your summer, and don't let any of the NPCs take it away from you.